Hey everyone, I'm Patrick Nyland, and I'm super excited today because we're talking about sci-fi. Particularly, we're talking about 5 facts that every sci-fi author should know. As an avid sci-fi reader and a sci-fi author myself, these are mistakes that I see all the time in science fiction. And after watching this video, you'll know not to make them in your book. So with that, let's get started. Number 1. A light year is a measure of distance, not time. I think this one confuses a lot of people because the word year is at the end of light year. A light year is basically how far light can travel in 1 year. It's so large that it's actually kind of difficult to comprehend. And speaking of large distances, I didn't put this fact on the list, but I wanted to emphasize how large our universe truly is. I don't think a lot of sci-fi authors truly understand the scope of the universe. When you put it into perspective, the thought of the size of our universe is almost unimaginable. For reference, the nearest star to us after the sun is Proxima Centauri, and it's 4.3 light years away. That means it would take a spaceship traveling the speed of light 4 years to reach the next closest star. Which is why, as an aside tip, if you're considering using interstellar travel in your novel, I would consider incorporating some sort of wormholes or portals. My second fact has to do with AI. The actual definition of AI, or artificial intelligence, is a machine that does a task that's typically considered to be a human task. And what I mean by a human task is it's a task that has something to do with deductive reasoning or problem solving. Thought, basically. Which means AI in your story does not have to be a conscious robot. Sometimes it feels like every science fiction author sees the term AI and instantly thinks robot that thinks like a human, or robot that takes over the planet, or robot that has feelings. And while those visions of AI are really cool, they're not the only application of the technology. So just know AI does not have to mean sentient robot. Fact number 3 is there is no oxygen in space. Which means there is no sound in space. And also, without oxygen, there is no explosions in space. So basically every space battle you've seen is wrong. Keep in mind too that in a space battle, your ship does not have to deal with gravity. Which means the traditional interpretation of space battles with the large carrier ships and the small fighters is actually incorrect. In a real zero-gravity space battle, a large ship like a Star Destroyer can move just as fast and agilely as like a TIE fighter. Which is kind of terrifying when you think of it. My fourth fact is evolution takes place over millions of years. Yeah, evolution is really slow, and it's also directly related to the environment. The idea of humans rapidly changing over the next 200 years, while exciting, is not really realistic. However, if you really do like the idea of evolution and genetic variation, I would recommend writing a book that has something to do with genetic experimentation. That way you don't get the science wrong. Another thing to consider about evolution is aliens. Aliens that develop on a completely different environment are going to be completely different than humans. So while it can be difficult, try not to make all your aliens humanoids or variations of different Earth creatures. Unless they're like that for a reason. That could be a fun idea to explore. My fifth and final fact is every planet is unique. For example, as far as we know, there are barely any planets that are just like Earth. Every planet has a different gravity, a different environment. So if you're writing interplanetary science fiction, think outside the box. And on that note, different regions of a planet can have vastly different environments. The North Pole and the Amazon rainforest are on the same planet, and yet they are completely different. Earth has oceans and mountains and deserts, and yet for some reason, almost every single science fiction planet has one characteristic that wraps around the entire surface. So rather than writing another plain sandy sphere with a perfect atmosphere, think outside the box. So those were 5 facts I think every sci-fi author should know. In the comments below, tell me about a book, movie, or show that got one of these facts wrong. There are plenty of examples. Please leave me a thumbs up if you like this video, it really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. And if you don't already, be sure to subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching.